Hey, what's up guys? So we're here to showcase off the new variant of Dinosaurs using Lost World. Now Lost World did see some play, but now it's pretty much the go-to option for Dinosaurs because they've lost a few of the cards that were utilized for the Yangzing engine in the TCG. But Lost World is actually a pretty good card, and even though people were still using it before, now it's more relevant in the game because of Rescue Rabbit at 3 because of the new Banlist. Now, even though he gave his opponent a token and he made his opponent be able to go into Firewall Dragon real easy, it doesn't really matter because you're going to get so much bonus effects off of the Jurassic Egg token that you give your opponent, and every time you're destroying a card that would be a normal dinosaur, you can instead send cards to the graveyard instead, and that could be Baby Ceratosaurus, it could be a lot of the other cards. They're not only going to be fuel for your dinosaurs, but it'll also access the ability to kind of survive because you'll see how aggressive this deck is. And obviously the guy, he did get a free Firewall Dragon essentially because his opponent gave him a token. However, it doesn't really matter because you're going to be able to get rid of like everything, and then when you kill those things you can actually prevent them from being destroyed. Even though this can attack everything anyways, you're going to be able to get a bonus a set amount of damage. And anyways, I have a few replays that I want to share with you guys, and then I want to give you guys a deck profile because this is, again, the new variant of Dinosaurs that people are playing in the game, and a lot of you guys did request me to update Dinosaurs because it's a relatively budget-friendly deck. Now, this is a budget version, however, I'll talk a little bit more about a more expensive version. When we go into the deck profile, I'll talk a little bit more about it. Now, one thing that can be awkward with the Dinosaurs here is when you go for a first turn Lost World play and you happen to have Rescue Rabbit, it kind of puts you in the awkward situation. Do you want to get the bonus effects of Lost World, or do you want to make a Lagia or Dolka? Because Lagia and Dolka are pretty strong cards. Oh, I guess there's also technically Bahamut Shark that you can go into, which can then lead you into getting Totally Awesome out in the deck, which can be another non-dinosaur target for the big evolution pill, which we will get into in a second. But Regeki activated, he's going to go ahead and get some free extra searches. Pendulum Magicians are actually pretty meta right now, surprisingly enough. It's a very popular deck too. So you guys will see he's going to go ahead and smack him directly for 3,500. Probably one of the biggest boss monsters that is easily summonable, if I can say that word. Yeah, it's still just a very optimal deck, and you guys can see over here, he's going to go ahead and get Oviraptor's effect. Oviraptor is just insane. Even though the new Banlist, it ruined the Earth True King, so you can't destroy some of the other cards that we had before, like the Petite Pterodon over here. You still have options for a few other things, and I'll get into that in a second, although that version will not be budget, just as a heads up. But I would say this is definitely a budget-friendly deck. They're real easy. It's basically get a few copies of the structure deck, and then add a few cards that you might already have lying around, and then obviously some cards in the extra deck. However, most of the cards in the extra deck, they are pretty cheap. Most of you guys should have access to Castell already and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase off a few little replays here, and then I'll go into the deck profile, and we'll talk about like how this deck can evolve. And the, double evolution pill. There was only one build in the OCG that has actually ran a pure dinosaur variant, and that was actually a few weeks back, 2 weeks back. It did take a place in OCG. However, most of the OCG decks are playing Yangzing dinosaurs, but we can't play them in TCG because of the Denlong ban, which is a card that adds 9 branches, and that card basically sets you up. But even though the variant that I'm going to show you guys has no background, I'll get into that in a second, because Lost World basically is protection for you, and it's really good because not only do you get to prevent yourself from being destroyed, you also get out Oviraptor. Usually it's going to be Oviraptor, let's be honest here. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to get out another search. And that's why it's so strong right now, and it's kind of hard to combat. The deck is very, very aggressive. And even though you could be playing back row in this deck, I feel like majority of the time you can just play super aggressive and you just go all in, and you can do these massive amount of damage here. And I mean, obviously he could have made Cowboy at that point, but he didn't have it in the extra deck. We'll get into the extra deck and the deck profile in a second, but I just want to showcase off how the deck kind of plays. This guy opts to go for a zombie play over here. And what's interesting with Lost World is it also reduces the attack of non-dinosaurs by 500. And Lagia and Dolka are actually not dinosaurs. You need dinosaurs to summon them, but they're not actually dinosaurs themselves. They're actually dragons. So that's kind of just a little interesting tip there, because that will actually reduce Lagia's attack to 1900, and some people can just run over that. Giant Rex over here boosted up over here, and then we have the Superconductor Tyranno there for the disrespect. Christian, thanks for these 2 replays, and thanks to the other guy for the other replay. But I just wanted to mention, he said that this was for disrespect. I don't think that this card is actually good, but for the sake of the deck profile, he did have it in there, so I will be including it. But I want to make some suggestions for you guys that are interested in building the new dinosaur deck, essentially. But anyways, let's go into the deck edit section, and let's talk about dinosaurs and how to build this deck and make it a little bit more competitive. Okay, first off, I'm pretty sure this card is just a prank, bro. Let's remove it. Alright, so now that you guys have seen, let me go over the deck profile, and then I want to talk about suggestions for you guys, because I think that we can definitely make this deck a little bit better by removing some cards and adding some cards to make it more competitive. So first off, for the vanillas, we got 4 copies of them. We got 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X and 2 copies of Caboozles. Important thing, they're water. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Next up, 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. For the TCG, I think it's fine to play 3. A lot of the OCG players are playing 1 to 2, and that's because of the Yang Zing build, but we don't have access to that. Deadlong is banned, 9 branches pretty much not going to be really searchable right now, and you know, that first turn play that they have that's really strong, you just don't have access to it. And then next up we have the Mad Flame Kaiju, it's just because it's a dinosaur. Next up we have Giant Rex Micellosaurus. This was a card that was hit on the ban list, but it's mediocre as far as like making the deck dead. The dinosaurs are definitely still alive. I know Spirals are the most popular deck, but again, this is probably one of the best budget decks as of right now that you guys can pick up and play. This one is pretty budget friendly. Anyways, we got 3 copies of the Soul Eating Oviraptor, 3 copies of Rabbit, 1 copy of Tyranno Infinity, 1 copy of Maxi, 3 copies of Petit Pterodon. We got 2 copies of Baby Ceratosaurus, 2 Ghost Ogre. This card did get a reprint a while back, so I'd still consider this a budget card. This one, however, is not, but I suggest it. Anyways, next up we have Drac Aiello, 1 Raigeki, 1 Dark Hole, 3 copies of Terraforming, 1 copy of Emergency Rescue, just for short, we're going to call it that. Next up we have Ultra Evolution, but it's known in the TCG, by the way, as Double Evolution Pill. The last dinosaur deck that did top in OCG, there was a pure dinosaur, we're not talking Yingzi, he maxed out on these. The guy was a savage. I don't know for consistency if that's a smart idea. However, if you happen to make like Utopia, or you go for like Bahamut Shark, and then you happen to go for Totally Awesome, that'll serve as the other non-dinosaur cards that you have as a requirement, because you banish a dinosaur and a non-dinosaur, and then you get a special summon a boss monster. That's basically to sum up this card. I think 1's okay. If you're playing 3, you're crazy, man. Soul Charge, I feel like it's a win harder card. I don't really think it's super necessary in the deck. However, it does access you know, options to go for some rank 4 plays to bait out some back row. It's not a bad card, but no builds that are competitive as of right now that I'm aware of. I have actually been running it. It's a card that you could cut as well. Next up we have 3 Fossil Dig. Don't cut this card. MST, I'm going to suggest to cut this card, even though we'll get into the deck profile in a second as far as suggestions, but I just don't think it's that great. There's a lot of better options. Next up we have Book Moon and 3 copies of Lost World. So this is again like the budget variant of the deck. I would say also removing this card is actually good, because unless you want to play Cosmic Cyclone, you won't get really good value out of this card, because sometimes you just don't have the options to go for it. Maybe you exhausted some of the cards. I actually suggest Twin Twisters, because Rabbit doesn't really do anything other than get out these cards, and once you've gone through the plays, or maybe you've drawn them, you don't have really good use for it, so you can put in Twin Twisters. If you really want to play the Emergency Rescue, I would suggest Cosmic Cyclone, because you have to pay life points to activate it, therefore you'll be at lower life points, therefore you can activate it turn 1, because usually you don't have the options for that card turn 1. I also feel like Book Moon's a little bit slow. It's not the most in card right now, it's basically Solemns, although I know we are getting a reprint of Solemn really soon in the new special edition, so I would still consider Solemn a budget card. It's going to be budget very soon, guys, that's the thing. Maybe not at this second, but obviously you probably have Warning lying around, maybe you can throw in another back row. Heck, Torrential Tribute is actually really good, which is another card I wanted to get into. Torrential, there we go, that's another card. Like I said, most people, I guess, for this, because it's not technically out at this second, someone's gonna be like, hey, it's not budget this second. Alright, hold on, we'll add in a warning, okay, warning, Solemn Warning, okay, this will be a little bit better for you guys. I also think Dark Hole, Double Dark Hole over Raigeki can be a little bit of a better option, simply because your vanillas will let you have access to destroying them because of Lost World, because this is the new build. Oh wait, we should probably just type in Dark Hole. Probably too many dark monsters if you just type them. Oh, it got hit on the ban list. Never mind, add Raigeki. Okay, yeah, that got changed on the ban list as well, right? Geki. It's still good. Did I spell Raigeki wrong? Oh, it's Raigeki. Raigeki. Okay, there we go. This is still okay because you're going to give your opponent a token. However, if Dark Hole was still at 2, I think Dark Hole would actually be better because of the synergy that you have. You can also opt to play 3 copies of each of the vanillas, and you can actually play the Baharastos and also play the True King engine, obviously with Ash Blossom. That's the more, I think, go-to build. However, that is not budget, but I wanted to give you guys like a 2-in-1 deck profile for you guys. As you guys can see, there's not very much back row, although like I said, I suggest Solemn Strikes because that card will be cheap. This card doesn't see very much playing competitive. I suggest taking that card out. Again, these are my suggestions. Ghost Ash or Ash Blossom is a fantastic card, although that will not be budget as well, but you guys can go ahead and mix that. A lot of OCG decks are just maxed out on this. Almost every deck is maxed out on this card, as well as some people are main decking Effect Failure. I did see that on some of the top Dinosaur deck lists. Although they're playing a different build, they have a different meta because of the different ban list, but at the same time, you need cards like Effect Failure, you need cards like Maxi, Ghost Ogre to deal with spirals. That's going to be the most popular deck once that hits in the TCG. Oh, I totally forgot to go over the extra deck. I'll mouse over them real quick. Pretty much, we've got this card that you make because of Aiello. Then we got the High Speed Chainbara. We got Samsara, Dragon Rebirth, Dragon Velfido. And most of these cards you won't be making, just as a heads up. Utopia. I actually do think Utopia or Bahamut Shark are really good cards to go into when you have the option to go for them, because it puts in double targets if you wanted to play multiple copies of double Evolution Pill. I know it says Ultra Evolution, but that's because of the TCG name. But yeah, and then anyways, we got the Utopia Prime, we've got double copies of Lugia and double copies of Dolka. I would recommend dropping a copy of each one of these and then go ahead and add in Cowboy. It's because it offsets integers specifically to actually OTK. You saw it in that specific play where he was just short a little bit of making a game. There's a lot of times where Cowboy is very good because this card burns your opponent for a lot of damage, and then because if you decide to protect the other vanilla card, or the normal dinosaur, you can actually get out another card and then potentially go into a Cowboy. So it actually really helps out because you can still attack with the other monsters. So it definitely helps out to have a Cowboy. But totally awesome, because originally he sent me in this deck profile. It had Bahamut Shark, but it didn't have Totally Awesome. I don't know if he just made a slight little error on that, but I would definitely play Totally Awesome if I'm playing Bahamut Shark. That makes way more sense. But I have seen a lot of people still play Dragonic Diagram, and the new card that you guys are going to have to be playing is Baharastos, simply because the other card is actually banned now. The True King, I just call it the True King Earth. It's the Lithosaxum. So yeah, this guy's banned, so it kind of sucks because it was really good with Baby Ceratosaurus in this. But now you have access to these water monsters. I have seen, like I said, a few people that play it, and the True King of All Calamities. Hey, it's still a pretty good card, and that still kind of lets you have that good first turn 1 play that can shut down your opponent, kind of like how the Deadlong did before it got banned. Because yeah, I'm just gonna type in Yang Zing, because this variant in the TCG is just not going to be working. Deadlong is required, and pretty much everyone plays double copies of it in the Dinosaur deck. But again, the OCG list is different, so keep that in mind. But yeah, these are just my suggestions for you guys. Definitely a really great, strong budget deck. You guys can see it was very aggressive, and this one was not playing the Dragonic Diagrams and the Ash Blossom. Although Ash Blossoms, it doesn't really matter if you're going for those OTKs other than stopping Max C, but most people not playing Gores in 2017. What happened to that guy, man? But anyways, yeah, this is a deck profile. Hopefully you guys will enjoy playing some new dinosaurs. Have some fun with it. Let me know your guys' suggestions on this deck. But yeah, this is the new Lost World Dinosaur Rabbit deck. This is not really Dino Rabbit oriented. This is more like Dinosaur Rabbit, if that makes sense. Because I know the deck was called Dino Rabbit before, but this is more so Dino Rabbit than Dino Rabbit because it's actual, like, more dinosaurs than just, like, of course, making the Lugia and Dolka. But you guys can pump up the vanillas also. Like I said, I'd love to hear suggestions in the comment section below for improvements. But yeah, like I said, Solemn Strike is getting a reprint really soon, so it would still be budget. And I highly recommend Torrential Tribute still. It's so good because a lot of people will overextend and you just Torrential, and then you get to protect your card, and then you get to send extra cards. Raptor, and you guys already saw in the replays, the card is straight fire. Just being able to be getting just, you get like 2 monsters for like nothing. You get Raptor plus whatever you want, and then your monster's also protected. It's a nasty thing to run into, but have some fun with this very aggressive deck, guys. And like I said, I would say it's relatively budget friendly. Maybe some cards in the extra deck could be a little bit pricey, but for the most part, the things that are important in the extra deck, Lugia, Dolka, maybe you could drop these honestly if you can't afford them. But pretty much Lugia and Dolka are like the go-to cards, and who doesn't have Cowboy and Castell? Like, that's all you really need. Trishula, you might need it once in a while. If you don't have access to Trishula though, I'd probably drop Aiello over here because that's about it. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the new budget dinosaurs Dinosaurs. Very great deck. Have some fun with it, guys. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on it if you enjoyed it, and if you have suggestions, love to hear them in the comment section below. Like I said, these are some other card suggestions that I can give for you guys. But thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to see more budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks. And let me know you guys' thoughts on this deck, as well as if you guys have any other good budget deck ideas, because going into the next format, you know, it's good to have some budget decks lying around just in case you get tired of your meta deck. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I am signing out.